Shadows of vengeance. The void between stars was supposed to be silent, but the sensors aboard the Craxus warship Dominion screamed with alarm. Something was approaching, fast, dangerous, and impossible. Report. Supreme Commander Zex III demanded, his crystalline exoskeleton clicking as he moved toward the main view screen. Unknown vessel, sir, replied his second-in-command. Vrek. Configuration matches nothing in our database. Mass displacement suggests heavy armament, but he hesitated, mandibles twitching. Speak, Zex III ordered. It's registering as human technology, sir. The bridge fell silent. The mere mention of humans, a supposedly conquered species, caused every Craxus warrior to straighten, their compound eyes glittering with disbelief. Impossible, Zex III hissed. Humanity was pacified 3 cycles ago, their homeworld reduced to ash, their colonies harvested. Yet there it was on the screen, a vessel of unmistakably human design, but like nothing the galaxy had ever witnessed. Matte black hull absorbing, rather than reflecting light, angular and predatory. No identifiable engine signature, no standard radiation emissions. It moved like a shark through water, purposeful and deadly. Aboard the human vessel Defiance, Captain Elara Morgan stood motionless at the command station. Her dark eyes reflected the holographic display showing the Craxus warship they were approaching. The bridge crew worked in practiced silence, each movement precise and economical. They've detected us, Lieutenant Kwan reported from Tactical. Scanning frequencies active. Elara nodded, a strand of gray-streaked black hair falling across her face. Let them look. They won't understand what they're seeing until it's too late. 3 years ago, Elara had watched her family die when the Craxus bombardment turned Earth's atmosphere into fire. She'd been off-world, commanding a mining vessel, when the transmission reached her. Humanity had refused to surrender its resources to the Craxus Empire. The punishment had been swift and merciless. But humans were notoriously difficult to exterminate completely. Singularity drive at 97%, announced Chief Engineer Rowan from below decks. His voice carried through the comm system, steady despite the strain. She's purring like a kitten with a bad attitude. Weapon status, Elara asked. Primary kinetic arrays charged. MASC system green. Singularity cannon. There was a pause. Ready for first field test, Captain. The Defiance was humanity's last hope, a vessel constructed in secret by the survivors of Earth's fall. Built in the shadows of an abandoned mining facility on Titan, using technology the Craxus couldn't comprehend. For 3 years they had worked, salvaging, innovating, and preparing. Today was the day the Craxus would learn that humanity wasn't extinct, it was evolving. They're hailing us, Communications Officer Chen announced, surprise evident in her voice. Elara allowed herself a thin smile. Put them through. The holographic display shifted, revealing the insectoid features of Commander Zex III. His mandibles clicked in what passed for amusement among his species. Human vessel, you have entered restricted space. Identify yourself and prepare to be boarded. Resistance is. This is Captain Elara Morgan of the warship Defiance, she interrupted. We're not here to be boarded, Commander. We're here to send a message. Zex III's compound eyes glittered. A message. The only message your kind can send is one of surrender. Your species is finished. That's what you thought 3 years ago when you burned our world, Elara replied, her voice deadly calm. You should have made sure. You left survivors. Survivors with nothing left to lose and everything to avenge. Before Zex III could respond, Elara nodded to her tactical officer. Fire. The Defiance didn't shake, didn't rumble. It simply channeled the impossible energy from its core through specialized conduits. The first volley wasn't from the experimental weapon. They needed to save that. Instead, conventional kinetic rounds struck the Craxus vessel with surgical precision. Targeting sensors, weapons arrays, and engine nacelles. Impossible, he snarled. Your weapons cannot penetrate our shields. Your shields, Ilara said calmly, are designed to stop energy weapons and standard kinetics. These rounds are wrapped in a magnetic field that passes through your shields before reassembling on impact. Your technology is impressive, Commander, but predictable. The Kraxis vessel attempted to return fire, but the Defiance moved with uncanny speed, evading the energy blasts as if they were crawling through space. Second volley, Ilara ordered. Keep their weapons offline. Another barrage struck the Kraxis ship, this time disabling its primary weapons array. Smoke vented from hull breaches, crystallizing instantly in the vacuum. The Dominion is just the beginning. Ilara continued, maintaining visual contact with the Kraxis commander. For 3 years, we've studied your weaknesses, your patterns, your belief in your own superiority. You thought Earth was the end of humanity. It was just the beginning of your end. Zexther's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of agitation. You are one ship. The Kraxis Empire spans 12 systems. We will hunt you down and finish what we started. Let me show you what one ship can do, Ilara said, her voice dropping to a whisper. Tactical, target their engine core. Let's demonstrate the singularity cannon. Lieutenant Quan's fingers danced across his console. Target locked. Singularity cannon charging. Safety protocols disengage. The lights on the Defiance dimmed momentarily as power redirected to the experimental weapon. At the heart of the ship, artificial gravity fluctuated as spacetime itself began to warp. What are you doing? Zexther demanded, his arrogance giving way to uncertainty as his instruments registered the impossible readings. Giving you a glimpse of what awaits your empire, Ilara replied. Fire. The singularity cannon didn't produce a visible beam or projectile. Instead, a pinpoint of absolute darkness appeared just off the Kraxis vessel's starboard side, a manufactured microscopic black hole, precisely calibrated and controlled. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the Dominion began to distort, its hull metal stretching and warping as the artificial gravity well took hold. Alarms blared across both ships as space itself curved around the phenomenon. The Kraxis commander's eyes widened in genuine fear. This is forbidden technology. There are no rules in extinction, Ilara replied. End transmission. The view screen went dark as the Defiance pulled away, leaving the Kraxis vessel caught in the rapidly decaying singularity. Within minutes, the Dominion would be compressed into its constituent atoms, drawn into a point of near-infinite density before the failsafes triggered and the singularity dissipated. Singularity stable, Quan reported. Decay rate nominal. Collapse in 3 minutes. Ilara nodded. Prepared jump coordinates for the Helios cluster. The Kraxis mining operation. There is our next target. As the Defiance prepared to jump, proximity alarms suddenly screamed through the bridge. 3 Kraxis battlecruisers dropped out of faster-than-light travel, positioned to cut off their escape. They responded faster than anticipated, Ilara noted calmly. Bring us about. Let's see what else this ship can do. The Defiance banked sharply, its experimental engines flaring blue against the void. Behind them, the Kraxis command ship imploded with a silent flash, leaving nothing but scattered debris and a temporary distortion in the fabric of space. Incoming transmission, Chen announced. It's from the lead battlecruiser. A holographic display flickered to life, showing the face of Grand Admiral Fox, the architect of Earth's destruction. His exoskeleton was adorned with trophies, human artifacts, Ilara realized with cold fury. Captain Morgan, he said, his voice artificially modulated to approximate human speech patterns. I remember you. You commanded the mining vessel that escaped our purge of the Sol system. I should have hunted you down personally. Ilara's hands clenched at her sides. You remember one human but forgot our species-defining trait. Admiral, we adapt, we survive, and we never, ever forget. A touching sentiment, Fox replied. But your ship, impressive though it may be, is outnumbered and outgunned. Surrender now, And perhaps I'll allow some of your crew to live as specimens for our research division. Around the Defiance, the three Craxus battlecruisers moved into a triangular formation, energy weapons charging. Each was 3 times the size of the human vessel, their hulls bristling with weapons. Lieutenant Quan, status of the Singularity Cannon. Ilara asked quietly. Recharge cycle at 40%, Captain. We need at least 7 more minutes before we can fire again. Ilara's mind raced through options. The Defiance was revolutionary, but it wasn't designed to take on 3 battlecruisers simultaneously. Not yet. We'll have to use the MASC system, she decided. Rowan, divert auxiliary power to the molecular array scatter field. Captain, the engineer protested, we haven't fully tested the system in combat conditions. The power draw cold. We don't have a choice, Ilara cut him off. Do it. As the Craxus ships closed in, the Defiance began to change. Its hull seemed to blur, then separate into millions of individual particles, each maintaining its relative position, but no longer physically connected. To the Craxus sensors, it would appear as if the human vessel was disintegrating. What trickery is this? Admiral Fox demanded, his composure slipping. Ilara simply smiled. Fire when ready, Lieutenant Quan. The scattered particles of the Defiance surged forward, passing between and through the Craxus formation. As they did, pinpoint kinetic projectiles fired from positions the enemy couldn't predict or track. Alarms blared across the Craxus fleet as their ships took multiple precision hits, sensors unable to lock onto the dispersed human vessel. Molecular reintegration in 30 seconds, Rowan warned. Power levels dropping. The Defiance reformed behind the Craxus formation, its hull solidifying just as the enemy vessels turned to pursue. Jump drive. Ilara commanded. Get us out of here. Space folded around the human vessel as it vanished from normal space, leaving behind 3 damaged Craxus battlecruisers and a legend that would spread throughout the Empire. The humans had returned, and they had brought vengeance with them. Reckoning. The Craxus High Command convened an emergency session for the first time in 7 generations. The chamber, carved from the crystalline core of their homeworld, reflected the agitation of its occupants as they clicked and hissed in disbelief. Grand Admiral Fox stood at the center, his exoskeleton bearing fresh scars from his encounter with the human vessel. The holographic display before him showed the destruction of 16 Craxus installations across 3 systems, mining facilities, shipyards, and military outposts, all attacked by a single ship that appeared and disappeared like a ghost. This cannot continue, Empress Vex Thera declared, her voice echoing through the chamber. One human vessel has made a mockery of our defenses. Explain yourself, Admiral. Fox's mandibles twitched with suppressed rage. The human ship, Defiance, employs technology beyond our understanding. Their weapons ignore our shields. Their hull can disperse and reform, and they wield a weapon that creates controlled singularities. Impossible, the science minister objected. Such technology would require energy manipulation beyond even theoretical limits. Nevertheless, Fox replied, I have witnessed it. The humans were always resourceful, but in their desperation, they have achieved something unprecedented. The Empress rose, her crystalline crown catching the light. Then we shall respond in kind. Deploy the extinction fleet. All of it. Find this human vessel and destroy it, along with any human survivors who might have assisted in its creation. Across the galaxy, aboard the Defiance, Captain Ilara Morgan studied the tactical display with grim satisfaction. 16 targets destroyed in 10 days. The Craxus Empire was reeling, pulling forces from occupied territories to defend their core systems. They're learning, Lieutenant Quan observed. The last facility had upgraded shield harmonics. They almost managed to land a hit. Almost isn't enough, Ilara replied. How's our next target looking? Quan brought up the holographic representation of a massive space station orbiting a gas giant. Craxus Prime, their largest military installation outside their homeworld. heavy defenses, at least 60 warships in standard patrol formation. And the ultimate statement, Ilara said softly. This is where they coordinated the attack on Earth. The weight of that knowledge hung heavy in the air. Every crew member of the Defiance had lost someone when Earth burned. This wasn't just a military campaign. It was justice long delayed. Captain, Communications Officer Chen interrupted. Incoming transmission. It's not Craxus, it's human. Ilara's head snapped up. What? On screen. The holographic display shifted to show a man with weathered features and a patched environmental suit. Behind him, other humans work at what appeared to be salvaged consoles. Captain Morgan. The man said, "This is Jacob Reinhold of the Martian Resistance. We've been monitoring your campaign against the Craxus. Impressive work." Martian Resistance. Ilara repeated, stunned. Mars was classed along with Earth. Not all of it, Reinhold replied with a grim smile. Some of us were deep in the mining tunnels when the bombardment hit. We've been hiding, gathering resources, building our strength, and we're not alone. The camera panned to show a makeshift hangar where ships of various designs were being retrofitted with weapon systems. Survivors from the Europan colonies, the Titan mining facilities, even some from the Luna bases, Reinhold continued. We've been watching you, Captain. You proved it could be done. You showed us the Craxus can bleed. Hope, a feeling Ilara had almost forgotten, surged through her chest. How many ships? 23 combat-capable vessels, Reinhold answered. Not as advanced as your Defiance, but each commanded by humans with nothing left to lose. And we've intercepted Craxus communications. They're mobilizing their extinction fleet against you. You're going to need help. Ilara exchanged glances with her senior officers. The original plan had been a guerrilla campaign, striking and fading, never engaging in a pitched battle. But with allies. We're targeting Craxus Prime, she said. It's heavily defended. Reinhold's eyes hardened. Good. We've waited 3 years for a proper fight. Send us the coordinates. The Resistance will meet you there. After the transmission ended, Ilara's first officer, Commander Liang, approached her station. Can we trust them? He asked quietly. They're human, Ilara replied. And they've survived this long. That's good enough for me. She turned to address the bridge. Set course for Craxus Prime. All hands to battle stations. Today we stop hitting and running. Today we make our stand. The Defiance emerged from jump space near the massive gas giant that housed Craxus Prime. Almost immediately, alarms blared as sensors detected the enemy fleet. Not 60 ships as intelligence had suggested, but over 100. The Craxus had been expecting them. They've set a trap, Commander Liang said, his face grim. And we're going to spring it, Ilara replied. Any sign of the Resistance fleet? Nothing yet, Captain. Ilara's jaw tightened. Had they been betrayed? Or had the Resistance simply failed to arrive? Incoming transmission from the Craxus flagship, Chen announced. Grand Admiral Fox's face appeared on the display, his mandibles clicking in what passed for amusement among his kind. Captain Morgan, how predictable that you would target this installation. Did you think we wouldn't anticipate your vendetta? Your ship is remarkable, but against an entire fleet, even your technological marvels will fail. You talk too much, Admiral, Ilara replied coolly, for a species that's about to learn a hard lesson about humanity. The Defiance surged forward, its enhanced engines propelling it toward the Craxus formation. The enemy responded immediately, energy weapons lancing out from dozens of ships simultaneously. Evasive pattern Delta, Ilara ordered. MASC system on standby. Concentrate fire on their command vessel. The Defiance danced through space, its advanced propulsion system allowing it to move in ways the Craxus ships couldn't predict. Still, they couldn't avoid every shot. The bridge shuddered as several beams struck their shields. Shields at 70%, Quan reported. Their weapons have been modified. They're adapting to our technology. So will we, Ilara replied. Singularity cannon status. Charged and ready, Captain. Target their flagship. Fire. Again, the pinpoint of darkness appeared, this time directly alongside the Craxus command vessel. The massive ship began to distort, metal groaning as it was pulled toward the miniature black hole. But something was wrong. "They're countering the singularity," Rowan shouted from engineering. "Some kind of anti-gravitational field. They've developed a defense." On the view screen, the Craxus flagship strained against the pull of the singularity, but remained intact. Worse, the rest of the fleet was closing in, their formation designed to trap the Defiance in a web of crossfire. "We're surrounded," Liang announced, his voice steady despite the dire situation. Ilara's mind raced. The Craxus had studied their tactics, developed countermeasures. The element of surprise was gone, and the resistance was nowhere to be seen. "Captain," Chen called out, multiple jump signatures detected. Incoming vessels. For a moment, Ilara feared reinforcements for the Craxus. Then the first ships emerged from jump space, human vessels, cobbled together from mining ships, colonial transports, and salvaged Craxus technology. 23 of them, forming a ragged but determined line between the Defiance and the bulk of the Craxus fleet. "This is Jacob Reinhold of the Martian Resistance," came the transmission. "Sorry we're late. Traffic was murder." A ripple of laughter passed through the Defiance's bridge, quickly replaced by renewed determination. "All ships, engage at will," Ilara commanded. "Target their engines and weapon systems. They've prepared for the Defiance, but not for all of us." The space around Craxus Prime erupted into chaos as the human fleet engaged the Craxus Armada. What the Resistance ships lacked in technology and firepower, they made up for in maneuverability and unpredictability. They fought like guerrillas, striking weak points, covering each other, and constantly moving. The Defiance pushed through the enemy formation, heading directly for the station itself. Their primary target wasn't the Craxus fleet. It was the command center that had orchestrated humanity's near extinction. "Station defenses coming online," Quan reported. "Multiple weapon emplacements targeting us." "Maya's C system," Ilara ordered. "Take us through their defensive grid." Once again, the Defiance seemed to dissolve into a cloud of particles, passing through the defensive fire untouched. As they reformed near the station's main reactor, proximity alarms screamed. "Craxus flagship on intercept course," Liang mourned. "They've broken off from the main battle." On the view screen, Grand Admiral Fox's massive command vessel loomed closer, its weapons charging for a direct assault. "They can counter one singularity," Ilara said, a cold smile touching her lips. "Let's see how they handle two." "Tactical, target both the station reactor and the flagship. Simultaneous firing solution." "Captain," Rowan's voice came through the comm. "The core can't handle generating two singularities at once. The feedback could destroy us." "We've come too far to stop now," Ilara replied. "Do it." The Defiance shuddered as the singularity cannon charged beyond its designed capacity. Warning klaxons blared throughout the ship as power systems trained to their breaking point. "Singularities forming," Quan announced, his voice tight with tension. 3, 2, 1. Twin points of darkness appeared, one at the heart of Craxus Prime, another alongside the Admiral's flagship. Both targets began to distort immediately, metal and composite materials stretching and bending as they were drawn toward the manufactured gravity wells. Inside the Defiance, conduits exploded and hull plating buckled under the strain. The lights flickered, then went out completely, replaced by the dim glow of emergency systems. "Core breach imminent," Rowan shouted. "We need to shut down the cannon." "Hold," Ilara commanded, her eyes fixed on the view screen where both Craxus targets were being torn apart by forces they couldn't counter. Just a few more seconds. The station collapsed first, its reactor going critical as the singularity compressed it beyond its structural limits. The explosion rippled outward, engulfing nearby ships and defensive platforms. Seconds later, the Admiral's flagship followed, crumpling into itself before vanishing in a flash of released energy. Singularities collapsing, Quan reported. Both targets destroyed. Ilara allowed herself a moment of grim satisfaction before reality reasserted itself. Damage report. Hull breaches on decks 3 through 7, Liang answered. Singularity drive offline. Life support at minimal capacity. We're dead in space, Captain. Around them, the battle continued to rage, but the destruction of both the station and the flagship had thrown the Kraxus forces into disarray. The Resistance fleet was pressing its advantage, systematically destroying enemy vessels that had lost their command structure. Captain, Chen said, her voice quiet. Jacob Reinhold is hailing us. Ilara nodded, and the Resistance leader's face appeared on screen. He was bloodied, his bridge filled with smoke, but his eyes were alight with fierce joy. You did it, Captain, he said. Kraxus Prime is gone. Their fleet is in chaos. We're mopping up the stragglers now. My ship is crippled, Ilara replied. We can't jump out. We'll come to you, Reinhold promised. The Defiance has done enough. Let us finish this. As the transmission ended, Ilara looked around at her bridge crew, all of them wounded, exhausted, but unbowed. They had accomplished what seemed impossible just weeks ago. They had struck back against an empire that thought humanity was extinct. Send a message to all human vessels, she ordered. All frequencies, maximum broadcast strength. Chen nodded, setting up the transmission. This is Captain Ilara Morgan of the Warship Defiance, she began, her voice steady despite the pain of her injuries. 3 years ago, the Kraxus Empire tried to erase humanity from the galaxy. They failed. Today, we have destroyed Kraxus Prime, the heart of their military might. Their fleet is scattered, their command structure broken. She paused, looking at the tactical display where the remnants of the Kraxus forces were being hunted down by vengeful human ships. To any human survivors listening, this is not the end. This is just the beginning. Earth may be gone, but humanity endures. We adapt. We overcome. And we never, ever surrender. As her message echoed across the stars, Ilara Morgan allowed herself a moment of peace. They had lost Earth, but perhaps, just perhaps, they had saved humanity's future. And the galaxy would never forget the lesson they had taught, that even gods can fall when they underestimate the indomitable human spirit.